Hey everybody, this is Alan Fine, and if you need a little inspiration these days, then stay with us in celebration of Women's History Month. Dream Vacation and Cruise One recognized an outstanding female travel advisor with the Opal Award for Women. This year's recipient is Virginia March, and we have her here with us, so stay tuned and be inspired on Insider Travel Report. Virginia, thank you for talking to us.
I'm glad to be here. So thank you for the invitation.
And congratulations. Let's start with the beginning. How long have you been with Dream Vacations and what's the name of your agency?
All right. We have been with Dream Vacations going on 21 years. My husband started it back in 2005, and we are March Travel Group of Dream Vacations.
Now, it wasn't called Dream Vacations then. What was it?
Correct. We started as Cruises Inc.,
Got it.
went to Cruise One, and then became Dream Vacations.
It made sense to me. And also, I'm sure that your what you were selling expanded and the name worked better, right?
Absolutely. Because we would have clients who would book a cruise every year, and then we would say, "Hey, we haven't heard from you in a few years." And they would say that, oh, last year we went to a resort. We're like, but we can do that too.
Right, right. So that makes total sense. Now let's talk about what does the Opal Award stand for?
The Opal Award stands for Outstanding Professionalism and Leadership.
And you got to blush when you say that because you know you won it.
Right, right. I've been getting all
And,
these well wishes from everybody, and it's very encouraging.
and when you got the call, and you said you were moved to tears, what does that specific recognition mean to you? Because of what I read about that, you said your parents instilled in you. Explain how that all comes together.
It came to tears because over the past 6 weeks, we've been dealing with actually with my mother, some health issues. But when you're balancing your companies and your family priorities, the flexibility of being part of Dream Vacations and having our own franchise and our own business gives us that flexibility to help serve our family when needed. Because at the end of the day, family is priority.
And we're going to talk about your companies in a moment, but first I want to ask you about the pivot because for 25 years you were a library director and and you're probably reading about travel, but that you'll let us know. But then there was a light bulb moment and you realized that you wanted to do something else. So tell us all about that.
Certainly. As you mentioned, for 25 years, I was a public library director. Back when I received my master's of library science, my parents, as a reward, sent my husband and I on a cruise, a Sovereign of the Seas from Royal Caribbean, way back in 1997, which then started our travel bug. And that was a turning point for my husband and I because we said, okay, who is going to stay home with the children? We really wanted one of us to stay home with the children. And it made more sense for me to be working outside the home. And my husband started working from home. He was a stay-at-home dad before it was, in vogue, and he worked from home before it really became something. So for 25 years as a public library director, I was developing not only my staff, but I was serving in other leadership roles within the community, national organizations. And to me, leadership is being able to not just lead others, but you start with yourself. And personal growth is such a passion of mine. And I love to help people find the confidence, find the courage to be the full self that they are. So we talked about the pivot moment. That was 25 years as a public library director. I knew after being a public library director, I wanted to become a consultant. That was the buzz term in libraries, but I wasn't quite sure where to focus. Well, then I thought, what is the most enjoyable part of my career? And that was helping and developing others because I was mentoring others, just not my own staff, but other professionals. And that's when created my VSM coaching and consulting, which is I do leadership coaching, speaking, and training, which allowed me to also go full time into the travel business with my husband. I had been a partner for a number of years, but more of a silent partner, his plus one at all the events. So now I go full force into my coaching, speaking, and training, and full force into the travel.
I want to summarize that very quickly. The library life was too quiet. You have to be real quiet in the library, and you wanted more. Um, but that the empowerment and mentorship is such a big part of your life. What is it that what's the secret sauce that you're telling women to empower themselves for confidence in the travel industry?
The travel industry, so much of what we do, we put out there. We're on social media, we're on YouTube, pick a platform. So the big thing is to try to tell people, first of all, do your own journey, because it is so easy to be distracted and see what others are doing and think that you need to be doing that. Well, maybe you can learn a little bit from that, but that's not your path. Pick and choose what can help you, but write your own journey, write your own story. That's a big thing, is to do you. Another piece I like to tell people is celebrate the wins. Think of it, today's Friday when we're recording this, and many people are probably looking at their to-do list. How much did they get done this week? What is left over for next week? Well, we need to celebrate what we did, because if we go back and look at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we probably did a lot. And if we look back 2 months ago, 3 months ago, whenever they started in the business, they have done so much to get to where they're at now. And we keep moving the bar, which is great. We keep challenging ourselves, but to celebrate those wins and to give yourself grace, because we can't think that we're going to accomplish everything every day.
That's very good advice. And that's what you do. So let's expand this. I've got notes here, so excuse me if I'm reading, but let's talk about, you ready for the list? Camp Lejeune, the Honor Foundation, Jacksonville Veterans Business Collective, Jacksonville Onslow Chamber of Commerce, and Small Business Center. How do you fit it all in, and how does it all work?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. I live by my spreadsheet. I live by my calendar. I do what I have called buckets. And so I have my personal bucket, I have my coaching and consulting bucket, I have my travel bucket. And I even have one other organization that wasn't even listed, as I'm very involved with Toastmasters locally. And so every week I look at what are my priorities for each of these buckets, and then I will sign it out per day. And I then go and look at my full schedule and determine what I can do each day. I'm also looking at what can I delegate out. Who else can help me here? We might get a lead in to our business, but does one of my associates have a better strength in that area? There's certain ones that we have a specialist who does carnival, we have a specialist who does Disney. So if I get those phone calls, it's like, why spin my wheels when I know I have somebody else? So that's another point, is being able to know my strengths, know my weaknesses, and have a really good circle to turn to when needed.
That brings up the question. So how large have you grown your company?
Currently, we have my husband and I own the franchise, and then we have 14 associates.
Dream Vacations is very supportive of veterans, and so are you. Do you want to speak to that for a little?
Yes, yes. Okay. My husband is an Air Force veteran. He was in for 6 years back during Desert Storm. The whole time we were at F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Cheyenne, Wyoming, where there is no runway. It was a missile base at the time. And then we stepped away from it for many years until 2016, when we moved here to Jacksonville, North Carolina, near Camp Lejeune Marine Base. And it was like coming home. We were coming home to a military community. We knew that when we moved here, we would be accepted, because it's so, everyone's coming and going. And we have made such good friends here. And we've made such good friends who've been here and then they've left. And when we moved, we became empty nesters. We had this big move from Ohio to North Carolina. but we took our time to find out where did we want to spend our time and resources. And we eventually came into working with the USO, which we love to work with that organization. We have met service members from all over the world through that, along with serving our local service members. I have become active within the military spouse community here and can relate to these young military spouse members as their husbands are being deployed or they're going through transition from just having came here via PCS. And now what do I do? How can I find my tribe? How can I find my next job? So helping them find that confidence that they can find their space here. When my husband transitioned out, it was thank you for serving. Here's your resume. Good luck. And I, because of that, I want to make sure that others can transition better, whether it's being transitioning here or transitioning out. And another organization that I've been active with is the Honor Foundation, which helps Special Operation Forces members transition from military to civilian life. And it is so fulfilling and rewarding to help just be their mentor through that whole process. And we need to do that for the veterans. And you mentioned Dream Vacations, how they support veterans. Um, we have then grown our military community because of all the people within Dream Vacations that have chosen to have a Dream Vacations franchise. We have that connection with others and we can relate and talk about how are you doing it, along with perhaps some service related issues that you might have. So being able to support one another and understand one another, it's just another wonderful piece of our community within Dream Vacations.
Now, take a deep breath. All of that is probably why, and you were honored with the Opal Award. How is that voted upon? How does that bubble up and then end up in your arms?
Okay. Well, the Opal Award can be a self-nominated award, or someone else can nominate you. My husband mentioned nominating me, but we never followed up with it. So he nominated me because he feels that he sees the value in me. He's been one of my number one cheerleaders all along. When I went to get my undergraduate and then my master's, he never held back. He's allowed me to do that. So then all those nominations go before a committee and they read them over and they take a vote. And from what I understand, I believe it's a blind vote. And so to be chosen from, I know there's a number of other well-deserving people, well-deserving women, and now to be representative and part of the women that went before me. Dream Vacations, even though we're a very strong veteran, I mean, veterans, of course, are male and female, but there's a strong female community within the travel industry. And I have come to relate to all these strong women and learn from them and support them and as they do the same. So being recognized amongst my peers is it is a highlight because it could be any number one of us. We all support and celebrate one another.
So now, my other question was, if there are people out there who are, well, first of all, it proves that you can be a travel advisor and do a whole lot of other things, and you're
Absolutely.
living proof, and that it supports a lifestyle, which is great. What would be a piece of advice you'd give to women currently uh, who are in the situation that you were in 2005? They're standing on the edge of a major career change. What would you tell them?
Take some courage and jump because I do believe that things happen for a reason. Perhaps things aren't happening the way you want them to, but if you feel that real push and you have it in your gut feeling that that is the right thing to do at that time, which I knew was the right thing to do at that time, even though I felt like I was losing a lot, I was leaving. Um, I had close to 40 employees under me, and they're just not employees, but they become your family. And then the greater organization that I was leaving. And that was tough. It was very tough to pivot away from all of that, the security of a 9 to 5 job but I knew in my gut that was the right thing to do at the right time. So we can take a look. What do you want to do 3 years from now? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? How's it going to look? But if you're still staying where you're at now and not making changes, that's where you're going to be in 3 years. Are you going to be happy in 3 years if you're still doing the same exact thing? No, take that small step. Maybe do it on the side for a while and then jump full force into it. Talk to other people who have done it because there are so many of us out here that have made that leap. And we're here to help mentor people. We're here to help answer questions, to help guide people. It's wonderful to share our passion with other people so that we can help them develop their passion.
Let's summarize by giving a shout out to Dream Vacations. If someone's out there that wants to learn more about it, where do they go? And any final words about it?
For 21 years, we've been part of Dream Vacations on this franchise, and it has been the most rewarding experience for all of us. My husband, our associates, because we have such a supportive community with headquarters. And for those of people who are considering, is a franchise for me, reach out to dreamvacationsfranchise.com and they'll get you all the answers you want.
Well, thank you for spending time with us. Congratulations for receiving the award. Thank you for all you do. Keep it up.
Thank you, Alan, for this opportunity. And thank you to everyone at Dream Vacations for recognizing myself for the Opal Award and all the other fine women that are part of Dream Vacations.
And this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report.